Hi everyone, hope you all doing well. Welcome back to our channel. Now in this playlist of learning KQL from scratch, the next thing that I'm going to talk about IP addresses functions. So if you'll go ahead and read the documentation, what you will find that there are various different functions, scalar functions practically speaking, which are available with which you can go ahead and check the value related to IPv4. Now, likewise, I have listed for IPv4. Similarly, there are functions for IPv6 as well. So in this particular video, we are going to talk about all these functions which exist here and how to use them in a specific scenario. Okay, so let me switch to my browser where I have signed into portal.azure.com, and you can see this is my log analytics workspace and the specific workspace where I have set up Sentinel. Now I will be using threat intel indicator table to show you how you should apply IPv4 functions. However, before I go ahead and show you everything in action, let me just show you the type of these functions that we are going to talk about. These are all scalar functions. And fundamentally, if you'll scroll down, you'll see the first four getting listed over here. And then if I'll scroll down, you can see there are many of them listed here. So likewise, I've shown you the examples for IPv4. Similarly, you can do the same for IPv6 as well. Okay. So let's get started. And here I'm going to type threat intel indicator. And here I'm going to add a summarize count by observable key so that I can apply a filter only for IP addresses. Okay. So if I'll apply this filter, now I will only get the list of IP addresses. So let's say if I do this now, what you see is list of all the IP addresses. Okay, key value, observable value. Okay, these are all my IP addresses. Now, fundamentally speaking, likewise, I'm using threat intel indicator. You can use any table. It can be sign-in logs. It can be any table on which you are working. It can be any console on which you are working. It can be portal.azure.com. It can be Defender portal. It can be your Azure Data Explorer portal. It can be anything. Okay. Now here, fundamentally speaking, let's say if I want to check for this particular IP, okay, I can do this and I can run this query and I will get the result. But the question comes that why exactly someone will choose a IP address function instead of just applying filters. Okay. So let me just show you a scenario here and then things will make a lot more sense. Assume that instead of just getting the IP address, there is some value, let's say message. Okay. And that message is something like some arguments with the IP address. Okay. So this is detail related. Okay. This is detail related to location. Let's say something like this. Okay. And here I can add a space and I can say then now my observable value, and let me just remove this and then run it. Now here what is happening, that assume this is your field. Okay, so now I will remove observable value. Okay, and let me just run this. Now see, for every row here there is some text and then the IP address is mentioned. Okay, now in this case the very first function that we can use is, let's say, extend has IP, and here I will say has IP v4, has underscore IP v4. Now if I'll extend this, what you will see, it is just asking me the source, which means my column, and then the value that I have to give. Okay, so let's say I select this, my source is message, and now I just want to extract, or I just want to know in which row this particular value exists. Okay, now since this message field is a string field, that's why I'm giving single inverted commas, and let's say if I do true, I will get for this one. Okay, so when you apply filter, you will only get the results for which the filter has been applied. But when you use this function or any of these functions, you will get outcomes like true or false. So there is a difference. The very first one is a simple filter. However, this is an additional value getting populated which can be used further in queries. So here I can say where has IP equal to true, and now I will get a single result. Okay, now here let's say if I remove this line and if I comment it and I just want to check for multiple conditions. Okay, so let's say here I can do comma and I can add one more IP. This will give me an error and I'll get to that in a bit. And let's say if I copy this one, I can again add it here. And now here, instead of has IPv4, what we will do has any IPv4. Now, if you see this, sorry, has any IPv4. Now here, if you see, I'm getting has any IPv4, then the source, which is my message, and IPs, multiple list of IPs. So I'll select this and I remove these two curly braces, and then now I'll just go ahead and run. And now let's say if I remove this comment, what I'll see three different entries for which the outcome is true. Okay. Now let's say if I just comment this one and let me show you the same part with two more functions which are also kind of interrelated. Okay. So let's say if I now do has IP prefix. Okay. Prefix, and here I'll say has any IP, has any IPv4 prefix, and if I'll remove this, you can see it is again asking me for my source and the list of prefixes. Okay, so I'll remove this, and this time I'll only say 87 dot, or let's say 130 dot and 178 dot, and I'll run this, and now I will say where has IP prefix set to true. You can see now I'm getting these many outcomes where the value of the IP address is starting with this particular prefix. So likewise, we were checking for a specific IP address in this particular line. Similarly, we can check for a specific prefix that exists in this particular line. So let's say here, if I go ahead and say 87.251, okay, right now the count is 345. Let's see whether there is any result. Okay, you can see now the count is 251. So now it is strictly matching this particular prefix. So likewise, we have checked for has any IPv4 prefix. Similarly, we can just say has any IPv4 prefix, and I can remove these two entries and I can choose just one value here. And now you see I'm only getting results for 87. So this is how has any IPv4, has IPv4, has IPv4 prefix, has any IPv4 prefix. These four functions work fundamentally. Okay. Now let me show you some examples with some different table. Okay. So this time I'll go to common security log, and here I will say summarize count by IP addresses. Okay. Or I think it is source IP. Yeah. And here I have to do where time generated is greater than equal to, let's say, ago 7 days. Okay. So you can see now I'm getting some list of IP addresses. Now let's talk about some more complicated fundamentals here. Okay. So in this case, what I want to know is whether my IP address, let's say, has a specific range. Okay. So in this case, what I will do is I will say extend, let's say, range, and here I will say IPv4 is in range. Okay. Now see, for IPv4 range checksum, also there are two different functions, which basically means I can give two different ranges, and then I can find my source IP to be a part of these ranges, or I can choose one specific range, let's say a specific range for specific slash rotation, let's say 16. Okay, and then I can give my source value and the IP range itself. So let's get started with first one itself, and here I will say source IP, And let's give our first range, let's say, which is 192.168.20.40/16. Just assume this is the range which I want to check. Now, the moment I'll click on run, you can see now I'm getting the results where the value is getting matched as true, and wherever it is not getting matched is getting listed as false. So here, let me just add a filter where range is true. And when I'll run this, you can see I'm getting the source IP where this particular range is getting matched. Okay. Now, similarly, if I go ahead and show you the one which is for multiple one. Okay. So here I can say any. Okay. And now I have given my source IP and I have to give two different ranges. Okay. So here, let's say I give 10.1.10.20/24 and then single inverted commas, and I'll run this. And now I will get results for two different ranges. However, I don't think for this there was any detection, so we are not getting it. Okay. So this is how you can give multiple ranges and single range in one specific column itself. Okay. Now, there is one more aspect that can be added here, and that is, let's say, is private. Okay. So here I can say extend is private equal to IPv4 is private, and here I can say my source IP. So now fundamentally for all the source IP which are private IP addresses, for them the value should come as true, else false. Okay. So let's say if I do summarize count by is private, I'll get the list where the IP addresses are private IP addresses as true and the other one as false. Okay. Now, if you want, you can also check for netmask suffix for these IP addresses similarly. So let's say if I remove this and I can say extend netmask suffix, and then I can say that check this for my source, so which is source IP. Okay. So here I can choose this function, which is IPv4 netmask suffix, and I can then choose my source IP, and let's just run it. And now you can see it is giving me netmask suffix for these IP addresses. Okay. So this is how you fundamentally going to use all the different kind of functions which exist, and then you'll come to know what exactly is the outcome. Let me show you one more, which is moreover related to comparison itself. Okay. So let's say here if I'm saying extend match equal to IPv4, and here I'll say IPv4 compare. Now here I can give two different IPs. So what do I mean by this? Let's say the very first one is my source IP itself. Okay. And then I will give, let's say, a specific range. Okay. 192, let's say 168.20.40. Okay. This is the IP with which I want a comparison. However, here you have to give a specific prefix for the actual bits. Okay. So let's say if I do 16 now, and if I say that go ahead and project, no, here I'll say summarize count by match. Okay. Now let's just see for how many results we are getting 0 and -1. 0 is the kind of, you can say, true result, and -1 where the value is not getting matched. Okay. So let's say here I only project match and source IP. Source IP. And let me show you this result. Okay. So you see this IP is not getting compared with this condition that we have given. Okay. And that's the reason where why we are getting this 592.96 as -1. However, this one is getting matched. That's why I'm getting 0. Now this one is getting matched. That's why I'm getting 0. Okay. Now the only difference between IPv4 compare and IPv4 match is that you have to give the input value as a combined value, a rotation of the bits itself. Okay. Now what do I mean by this? That let's say here I can do IPv4 is match. I can give in fact multiple addresses here, but let me just show you with one example. This is my IPv1, sorry, IP1, which is my source IP, and here I will give /16, and I will remove this and I will click on run, and here I can say where match is true. Okay. Now one more change that you guys might want to relate to, that when we are talking about IPv4 as match, it is giving me true or false. However, when we are talking about the IPv4 compare, it was 0 and -1. Okay, so these are all different types of functions, practically speaking, which can be used for evaluating a specific IP addresses. And as you can see, we have covered all of them, which are listed over here, starting from IPv4, a normal checksum on a column which is having a string value that has any IPv4 multiple value, has prefix, has any prefix, IPv4 compare, where we are getting 0 and -1. Then IPv4 is in range, any range, match, private, and netmask. In the next video, I'm going to showcase how you can render multiple graph when it comes to visualization. So if you think that this channel is helping you to learn anything new, please feel free to subscribe and share this video with your technical community. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.